Gumayushi is dead. They have been doubted. They have been discounted. They have been dismissed. But DRX are your 2022 World Champions.
The greatest underdog story in League of Legends history is finally complete. DRX are the world champions. Every member of the squad had faced trials and tribulations en route to their appearance at this year's World Championship, but no one more so than Deft. This was likely his last opportunity at a World Championship trophy as he speculated his future, so come Worlds, it was all on the line for perhaps the last time. And in theatrical fashion, Deft and the rest of DRX rose to the occasion. Again and again, the team battled back from seemingly insurmountable odds, capturing the title that had eluded him forever. In the post-game interview, he mentioned one of his goals was recognition as the greatest player in the world, but instead, winning as a team was a far more worthwhile experience. But that does beg the question, now that Deft has finally won a world championship, has he done enough to be universally considered the greatest AD carry of all time? First, let's consider his competition, Uzi and Ruler. In most people's eyes, these two were the players always vying for that top spot. First, there's Uzi. To many, before this World Championship, he was considered the greatest of all time, and for a few reasons. Firstly, his insane mechanics.
Takes second blue, but that's going to be about the end of it. Instead, it's going to be bottom lane. Gorilla going in onto Uzi, dropping the ignite, able to find the initiation. Uzi with an expert dodge to get away as Ming gets out as well.
No one, maybe even Deft, had the sheer mechanical wizardry that Uzi possessed. Beyond that, Uzi always had the reputation of showing up on the international stage, and especially at Worlds. Uzi took two Chinese teams to the World Finals in Season 3 and 4. This was at a time when Korea was the most dominant region and everyone else was seemingly playing for second place. With a mostly below average supporting cast in both years, Uzi was able to carry his team to the mountaintop only to lose to A, the greatest player of all time, and B, the greatest team of all time in Samsung White. Years later, Uzi would again show his incredible skill, dominating the tournament of AD carries at MSI 2018, and almost beating out Faker and SKT in 2017. This was again before China's rise to absolute glory. When you compare him to Deft, many of those years, Deft was the higher seed coming into international competition, but repeatedly, EDG and Deft himself wouldn't look the same as they did domestically. As Uzi would rise to the occasion, Deft was considered almost a choker. And so the case for Uzi was born. But how does Deft compare now? He just accomplished not one but two things Uzi could never accomplish: win a world championship and beat Faker in another best of 5. In fact, even at Uzi's peak, and when the meta was in his favor, he couldn't take down the unkillable Demon King. But Deft, this late in his career, found a way to get it done on the biggest stage there is. In one fell swoop, Deft acquired international accolades that the supposedly superior international performer in Uzi could never accomplish. So that's it, right? Deft is the best. Well, there's still more to it than that. Although championships are important, how you earn those championships are just as important. We see examples of this in traditional sports. Oftentimes, NBA fans hold Giannis's one championship much higher than Kevin Durant's two. Why is that? Kevin Durant had infinitely more help en route to his title and joined a team that had already won a championship. In Giannis's case, he stuck with an organization that became a championship contender after many years. Now, Deft is no Kevin Durant, and make no mistake, DRX was no super team. But in saying that, we should acknowledge that unlike in past iterations of Deft's teams, this one was not really about him. Their championship run was far more about the rise of Zeka, the consistency of Kingen, P06's endless champion pool, and Barrel's ability to shot call and playmake. This was a championship won off the back of teamwork, and Deft supporting the other members of his team rather than being the primary carry. To go further, you can make a legitimate argument that Deft was the weaker AD carry in each playoff matchup at this year's World Championship. He certainly wasn't better than Gumayusi in the finals.
T1 didn't find a response. Guma, can he steal it?
Guma will have to fire a hell of
I don't think he was better than Viper in the quarterfinals, and you can make the argument Ruler was better too. So although Deft is a world champion, when we use it to compare individual players, it's important to add that context. Now you might ask, well, couldn't DRX have just played weak side Deft because they knew he could play well from behind? And that would be a valid proposition when you look at jungle proximity and how much Barrow liked to roam. But there were also many moments where the two lost out on trades and lanes on their own. And beyond that, asking a player to play weak side can also be viewed as a negative. As much as it shows off a player's diverse playstyle, it also might show that the best chance a team has to win is to play towards other carries. If we go back to the Uzi comparison, he was often crucified for not playing weak side enough and enabling his other teammates. But after watching another Xiaohu Worlds performance, I think we can assume Uzi's RNG simply realized that he was their best chance at victory. Now before moving to conclusions, let's discuss where Ruler fits into all of this. Ruler has been a model of consistency for so many years. He won a world championship as the best player on his team in a meta that demanded pristine AD carry play. And after his world championship run, he has continued to be one of, if not the best AD carry in the world over the last 5 or so seasons. He didn't have the choking issues Deft had internationally. He beat Faker head to head in the World Finals before Deft did, and he continues to get better. In saying all this, I do think this championship, context and all, is enough to put Deft above Ruler. For one, Deft has the case of longevity, which Ruler will more than likely reach at some point, but Deft also has highs on an individual level that Ruler has never reached. Although both have held the crown as the best AD carry in the world, I don't think Ruler's play ever peaked in such a magnificent mechanical way as Deft. Ruler is and was the perfect prototypical AD carry. Uzi and Deft are even more than that. These two could break the game, win games that you are not supposed to win. The only thing holding Deft back was his international reputation, but with that somewhat healed, he should sit above Ruler. As for Uzi, I think it's certainly incredibly close. On one hand, you can take away from Deft for not showing up for so many years and only winning the big one as a supportive character. On the other hand, you can take away from Uzi for not winning Worlds at all and perhaps losing because of his unwillingness to step aside on the international stage. You can say Deft had better teams over the course of his career. You could say Deft outperformed Uzi head-to-head a few times within the LPL. There's so many different directions you can take this. Both have faults, both have incredible highs. I think the one thing I can say for certain is this World Championship has helped Deft's legacy, but doesn't cement his case as the greatest either way. As I prepared this video, I leaned towards Uzi, and after working through all the many arguments, I still do. But I will say it is way closer than I thought it ever could be before this World Championship. Anyways, what do you think? Do you think Deft's trophy has done enough to catapult him to the top of the all-time AD carry list? Where would you rank him amongst the all-time greats? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.